Imagine a world where tensions are so high that countries are ready to throw their nuclear arsenals into the mix, like it's a high-stakes game of poker. You've got the big players. Think the US, Russia, China, and they're all sitting at the table, sweating bullets, with their finger hovering over the launch button. It's like the most intense game of chicken you've ever seen, except instead of cars, we're talking about intercontinental ballistic missiles. And let's be real, nobody wants to be the one who blinks first. Now, if we're talking about a nuclear war, we can't ignore the initial blasts. Picture this. A missile launches, and suddenly there's a flash brighter than 1,000 suns. In an instant, entire cities could be reduced to rubble, and you'd have more fallout than a bad breakup. The immediate aftermath would be chaos on a biblical scale. Emergency services would be overwhelmed, and people would be running around like they just discovered that their favorite celebrity is actually a lizard person. But let's not forget about the fallout, literally. After the initial explosions, there's the radioactive fallout, which is basically the universe's way of saying, surprise, you thought you were safe. This fallout would spread across vast distances, contaminating air, water, and food supplies. So if you thought your grocery list was tough to manage before, imagine trying to find food in a post-apocalyptic wasteland where everything is glowing and potentially lethal. You'd probably be better off foraging for mushrooms in the woods. Just make sure you know which ones are edible and which ones will send you on a one-way trip to the great beyond. Now, let's talk about the survivors. Those who managed to escape the initial blasts would find themselves in a world that's more Mad Max than anything else. Governments might collapse faster than a house of cards in a windstorm, and people would have to band together in makeshift communities. You'd see the rise of barter systems, with people trading canned goods for toilet paper. Because let's face it, in a crisis, that's the real currency. Forget gold. It's all about the charmin. And let's not overlook the psychological impact of living in a post-nuclear world. Imagine waking up every day to the sound of sirens and the smell of smoke. Anxiety levels would skyrocket, and therapy sessions would look more like support groups for people who've just been through a really bad horror movie. Social media would be a hot mess, with people posting their survival tips while simultaneously arguing about whether pineapple belongs on pizza. Spoiler alert, it does, but that's a debate for another day. As the dust settles, we'd also have to contend with the environmental impact. Nuclear winters could lead to a dramatic drop in temperatures, making it feel like winter in Antarctica year-round. Crops would fail, and the food supply would dwindle faster than you can say nuclear fallout. People would have to adapt quickly, turning to alternative sources of food, like insects. That's right, folks. It's time to embrace your inner entomophagist. Forget about that burger. It's all about the cricket protein bars now. Yum! Now, let's take a moment to discuss the potential for international relations post-war. Picture this. Nations that once had their differences are now united by a common goal, survival. You might see former enemies teaming up to share resources and rebuild. It's like the ultimate reality show where everyone has to work together to survive, complete with alliances, betrayals, and dramatic confessions. I never thought I'd be sharing rations with my arch nemesis, but here we are. On the flip side, there's also the possibility of rogue factions rising up. With governments in disarray, you could have warlords claiming territory like they're playing a game of Risk. These factions might be more interested in power than in rebuilding society, leading to further conflict and chaos. It's like a dystopian version of a high school cafeteria, where the jocks, nerds, and goths are all fighting for control over the last remaining slice of pizza. And let's not forget about the technological implications. In our quest for survival, humanity would likely turn to innovation in ways we can't even imagine. You might see a surge in renewable energy sources as people look for sustainable ways to power their new lives. Who knows? Maybe we'll finally see flying cars and hoverboards, just like in those sci-fi movies. Or we might just end up with really advanced composting toilets. The future is a mystery. Now, let's take a moment to consider the role of the arts in a post-nuclear world. You might think that creativity would take a back seat in the face of survival, but history has shown us that art often flourishes in times of crisis. You could have musicians writing haunting ballads about loss and survival, while visual artists create stunning pieces that reflect the new reality. Who knows? Maybe we'll see the rise of a new art movement called nuclear expressionism. It's like abstract expressionism, but with a lot more radiation. As we look to the future, we can't ignore the possibility of rebuilding. After the initial chaos, humanity has a knack for resilience. Communities would come together, pooling resources and knowledge to create a new society. It might not be perfect, but it would be a chance to start fresh. Think of it as a global reset button, where we have the opportunity to learn from the mistakes of the past and build a better world. It's like the ultimate group project, except this time, everyone's really motivated to succeed. Of course, there would still be challenges. Rebuilding infrastructure would take time, and there would be a need for governance and order. But with a focus on cooperation and collaboration, we could see the emergence of a new global community. Maybe we'd finally get that world peace we've been dreaming about, though it might take a few more nuclear wars to get there. Just kidding. Let's hope it never comes to that. And speaking of hope, let's not forget the power of human connection. In the face of adversity, people have a remarkable ability to come together. We'd see acts of kindness and bravery that would inspire generations to come. Stories of survival, resilience, and solidarity would be passed down like folklore, reminding us of the strength of the human spirit. So, what's the takeaway from all this? While the idea of a nuclear World War III is terrifying and bleak, it also serves as a reminder of the importance of peace, diplomacy, and understanding. We live in a world where our choices matter, and we have the power to shape our future. Let's work towards a world where we never have to find out what happens after a nuclear war, because we've chosen a different path. In conclusion, while we can speculate about the potential outcomes of a nuclear World War III, it's essential to remember that we have the power to prevent such a scenario. By fostering understanding, cooperation, and communication, we can build a world that thrives on peace rather than conflict. So let's put down the launch codes, pick up a paintbrush, and create a future that's filled with hope, creativity, and a whole lot of love. And who knows? Maybe one day, we'll look back at this moment and laugh, just like we do when we remember our awkward teenage years. Here's to a brighter, nuclear-free future.